1638 AD, 55:32 AM. After a series of intrigues, Japanese officials concluded that Catholic Christianity was a cloak for the political ambitions of the Pope and Spanish monarchy. Japan formally closed off its borders to all Europeans. John Greaves travelled to Egypt in 1637, and in this year he thoroughly studied the outside and inside of the Great Pyramid complex, seeking evidence of a universal measuring system incorporated within the dimensions of the monument, a project his colleague Sir Isaac Newton was earnestly awaiting the result of. Newton believed that the Great Pyramid's dimensions contained the encoded secrets of the universe. Greaves would publish his famous findings in Pyramidographia. In this year, a gigantic asteroid or cometary body passed through the inner solar system on its 92-year orbit, 40 years above the ecliptic and 52 years beneath it, on its way to collide into the North American continent in 2046. A short history of the world. 1639 AD, 55:33 AM. Astronomers all over Europe first witnessed through telescopes the transit of Venus, appearing as a tiny dot traversing across the face of the yellow sun. 1641 AD, 55:35 AM. Irish chief Rory O'More led a rebellion against the English to take Dublin. The hatred of the English seethed over abuses, and the Irish took revenge in killing about 30,000 English occupants of Dublin, Ireland. The War of Religion in Ireland results in the total death of about 40,000 Protestants, the Irish being Catholic. Jesuit priests in Brazil sent back to the Vatican strange figurines discovered in Brazil, where antiquarians there translated the inscriptions on the statues. Learning that they were Punic, 800 to 140 BC, somehow Phoenician relics ended up in South America. 1. March of the Titans. 2. The Lost Treasure of King Juba. 1643 AD, 55:37 AM. Prophetic chronologist Heidelberg wrote that the Roman Catholic Church would fall from power in 1866, a belief shared by the Professor Cellarius of Basel, 1551, Robert Fleming, 1701, Gresner, 1690, among others. This prediction concerns the 1260 years of the rule of the beast over the 10 toes, 10 kingdoms of Europe, which became a multitude of European nations descended from the 12 tribes of migrating Israelites. The 1260 years was believed by these men to start in 606 AD, when the Pope was declared to be the universal bishop, the master over all other Christian bishops. As seen in 1866 AD, the Pope did indeed lose a lot of power. Sir Isaac Newton was born, largely remembered as being the first to record his ponderings over gravity and its force. Though Hipparchus about 2,000 years earlier explained the precession of the equinox and timed it at about 100 years, Newton recalculated this retrograde period and determined its exact longevity at 72 years per degree of movement. 11 degrees was 792 years, and 12 degrees was 864 years. Though Newton has been popularised as a leading scientific mind, and for the time he was, what is little known today is that Isaac Newton was an avid researcher into the deeper truth of the scriptures, and was convinced that there were latent messages encoded within the biblical narratives. He diligently studied the biblical prophecies and wrote over 1 million words of commentaries on his own interpretations and thoughts. Newton was fascinated with the research of John Greaves. 1. Today, Tomorrow and the Great Beyond. 2. The Discoverers. 1644 AD, 55:38 AM. On May 27th, the Manchus of China marched toward Peking to reinforce allies fighting against the Ming dynasty, which had ruled for 276 years, 138 times 2. In a brilliant move, the Manchus concealed their army within a great dust storm and engaged the Chinese army of the Ming by surprise, taking Peking to establish the Qing dynasty that would go on to rule for 268 years. In North America, Chief Opechancanough launched another wave of Indian attacks against the English settlers that resulted in another 300 deaths in 2 days. This time the settlers captured Chief Opekaganoff, shot him, and forced the Indians out of the region between the York and James River. One, A Patriot's History of the United States. 1645 AD, 55:39 AM. Astronomers noted a moon-like object near Venus. This was the first recorded sighting of this object, but there would be many more over the years. Some astronomers have searched diligently for this unknown object, only to find that it is gone. Later the object is again reported by other astronomers. 1. Cataclysm. 1646 AD, 55:40 AM. The monumental research of John Greaves on the Great Pyramid was published in this year as Pyramidographia, or A Description of the Pyramids of Egypt, in England. He was made the Professor of Astronomy at Oxford. On May 20th, strange sounds accompanied with rumblings were heard in the skies all over England, throughout Norfolk, Suffolk and Cambridgeshire. A pillar of cloud appeared that seemed to ascend from the earth, pyramidal in form. Others describe it as a steeple ascending from the earth. At the same time, the witnesses claimed that a cloudy spike descended from the sky to encounter it. 1. Secret symbols of the dollar bill. 2. The world's most mysterious objects. 1648 AD, 55:42 AM. The 30 Years' War ended in Germany between those Catholic Habsburgs and the Protestants of Europe with the Peace of Westphalia, ending the Holy Roman Empire of Germany, founded in 962 AD. The Taj Mahal at Agra, India is finished. John Aubrey discovered that the huge hill called Avebury in England was artificial. This mound is so immense that the entire village had been built inside it, its sheer size disguising its artificiality, the locals thinking it was a natural hill. 1649 AD, 55:43 AM. King Charles I is executed for treason at the behest of Oliver Cromwell, who was backed by Parliament. Cromwell then permitted the Jews to come back to England, reversing the expulsion edict, issued and enforced since 1290 AD by King Edward I. 1. The Synagogue of Satan. 1650 AD, 55:44 AM. Archbishop James Ussher calculated that the Great Flood occurred in 2348 BC. This is only 109 years off from the true 2239 BC, demonstrated in many ways in Chronicon 1. The Great Flood ended a specific 432,000-day countdown, known to the ancients before the flood, and this year of 1650 AD was exactly 3888 years after the flood, or 432 times 9 years after 2239 BC. 1. The incredible discovery of Noah's Ark.